A lot of these things on the wall are from student projects from my courses. This student wanted to talk about the link between Neanderthals and anatomically modern humans, and so she drew this, which was absolutely stunning. This student was pre-dental and wanted to go to dental school, and so he decided to draw the different dental arcades throughout human evolution.
Will you tell me about the skulls?
Yeah, so I actually made these.
Really?
Yeah. I molded and casted the original skulls and then just made tons and tons and tons of copies. I would actually have dreams about these skulls.
Welcome to Notre Dame Stories, the official podcast of the University of Notre Dame, where we push the boundaries of discovery, embracing the unknown for a deeper understanding of our world. Extreme winter conditions are here, and millions of Americans are feeling the chill. But can you imagine choosing to work in negative 25 degrees air temperature? Anthropologist Cara Ocobock does, and she genuinely likes it. Her research is unlocking the secrets of how our bodies adapt to extreme conditions, and she's teaching her students about it using some surprising facts about our ancestors.
Hi, Cara.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
I'm so excited to talk to you.
Thank you for the invite.
Tell me if I'm wrong. We are in your lab, the Human Energetics Lab?
Correct.
Okay,
This
what
is
does that mean?
So basically, we look at how many calories people burn in various different conditions. And so that goes from resting, so there's that giant cot behind you there, and so we'll have people lay down just to measure baseline when they do absolutely nothing all day, how many calories they're burning. But I also have other units that allow me to measure how many calories people are burning running, or by doing jumping, or when they're exposed to cold. But those are in Finland right now because there's ongoing research.
It's also hard to miss some of the embellishments to the lab, although they probably have a lot of meaning.
That's a nice term, embellishment. The strange things you see.
So we have what appears to be a unicorn, like a 6-foot
We're going to call it a unicorn, yes.
Okay,
yes.
so what, just tell me the story.
So this wonderful unicorn, which we named Dazzleflash, by the
course.
way, this is Dazzleflash the unicorn, is technically a woolly rhinoceros.
Okay.
And so in my Fundamentals of Biological Anthropology course, we talk about all sorts of things, of the basics of evolution, non-human primates, and then human evolution, and we talk about the culture as well. And so I teach them about hunting, and how much fun would it be to actually experience kind of what hunting is like back in the past. And so I purchased a 6-foot tall lawn ornament unicorn from Home Depot, and my husband and I covered it in fur, added an extra horn, and I take my students out to the track and field throwing practice area, and they use traditional spears like this, a traditional bow and arrow, and an atlatl to see what it was like to use these kind of original weapons to actually hunt, and how difficult it must be and how much skill it takes to take something down. And so I bring Dazzleflash out there, and they all aim and almost invariably miss to hit Dazzleflash with every single weapon.
Even though he's 6 feet tall.
6 feet tall.
Talk to me about what appears to be a narwhal in a dump truck.
That is exactly what this is, as absurd as it is. So part of preparation for going hunting and whatnot, I had my students look into the different animals that were hunted by Neanderthals and early modern humans. And they learned from a recent paper that came out that Neanderthals may have hunted narwhals.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Right, it's absolutely fascinating. I'm like, well, now I have to get a narwhal into this whole activity, and I wanted to add an additional level of difficulty. So I put it into a remote control pickup truck, and I'm driving the pickup truck around the field, and they're trying to aim at a moving object. They also miss that, but
I feel like you're having fun. This clearly, we're going to talk about your very impactful and important research, but it sounds really fun.
It is a lot of fun, and students really enjoy the experience. And I think it's also very humbling of what it took for our ancestors to survive and thrive when they don't have convenience stores to go to or dining halls to go to. I think it gives a whole lot of respect to what our ancestors did to live each and every day.
I pulled this quote just right from your bio online. Your research is described as an integration of human biology and anthropology. Give me that in your own words. What does that mean?
Yeah, so I'll start with the anthropology part. And so anthropology is this beautifully huge umbrella of basically anything in which you are studying humans or their relatives, so the non-human primates, fall within anthropology. And this includes the past and the present. And so you have, within our own department, we have cultural anthropology, linguistic archaeology, and then biological anthropology, which I'm part of, which is very much focused on our own physiology and how our own physiology responds to extreme conditions. And so I try to apply it to our ancestors from the past who were experiencing extremes as well.
So when we're talking about the extreme cold, the effect of that on our bodies, what does that research entail, or what are you trying to, tell me more about what you're trying to get to.
Yeah, so I am fascinated by how our bodies respond to cold. And I won't lie, there is a personal side to it as well.
Do you like the cold?
I prefer the cold. Yesterday, I was so happy when it was like 7 degrees outside.
It's cold out right now.
And I went snowshoeing yesterday. I love the cold. And so when thinking about humans in extreme conditions, like, well, if I'm going to be spending a career doing this, I should choose an environment I actually like. And so cold it was, and which is also good because not as many people within this area study cold. They'll study extreme heat or they'll study high elevation populations, but cold is pretty much lacking in our field as well. So I'm curious of how our bodies have adapted over millennia. And by our, I mean people who have lived in extreme cold for generation after generation, but then also how people like you and I, once we go to extreme cold, what are our bodies doing in those first initial days and weeks to help us maintain our body temperature and, you know, stay healthy and keep living?
Now, I think it's cold right here in South Bend, Indiana, but when you're talking about your research, you are going far beyond the Midwest. A lot of your research is happening right now, in fact, right in Finland.
Yeah, so the research in Finland takes place about 300 to 350 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle in Finland. So we work with the reindeer herders, and these are people who herd reindeer for a living. And then we also have a group of folks who are just indoor workers like you and I, but do live in that region, so we can compare how they respond to the cold. An occupation that's outside all the time versus, you know, those who have an occupation where they're indoor all the time. And so we're interested to see how they respond to cold exposure. And so one of the things that we do, if I can get up for a moment, I can show you at least a little bit of it, is we have our participants, this is just the bottom half, these are the pants, and you can see that it's like a sweatsuit with tubing running through it. So we connect this to a pump, which is connected to a bucket of ice water, basically, or a bottle of ice water, and we have them lay down on a bed similar to that, and we control cold expose them by flushing this suit with cold water. And during this process, we're measuring their metabolic rate, and so they're wearing this mask that measures how much oxygen they consume and carbon dioxide they produce, which we pretty much can get calories from that. And then we're also taking thermal images of them at the same time, and we're looking particularly up here by the shoulder, where there's a special kind of fat called brown fat, which burns only to keep you warm. So we see changes in how they're burning fat, how they're burning carbohydrates, what their blood pressure is, and we're also incorporating some hormone analysis too.
There's a lot of hype, and probably always has been, around weight loss trends, cold plunging, cold exposure, what that does for, I mean, all the health benefits, maybe weight loss just being one of them. Tell me truth to some of that, or what context can you give us?
The context
I'm sure you
is
get
always important.
You get asked that a lot.
So let me start with the cold gym idea. The moment you start exercising, your body's already producing a lot of heat. So you're not going to be burning extra calories in a cold gym because the gym is cold. It turns out our muscles are really inefficient, and we lose a lot of the energy when contracting our muscles just to heat, which is great in the cold, and which is why if you were to ever get stuck out in the cold, you should not sit still. You should keep moving to keep generating heat. As for the cold plunge, we are seeing some benefits, especially if you're doing something like the cold plunge to going into a sauna or a hot tub and then back into a cold plunge, because you are making your body shift rapidly between conditions. And it is actually giving you some cardiorespiratory cardiac stress in a way that, say, running might do. And there is some evidence, although it's not fully there, that it might increase how much fat you're burning versus other things like carbohydrates, as well as possibly helping your body to properly deal with blood sugar or glucose. So in the case of diabetes, that would be really important. But anyone thinking of doing a cold plunge should talk to their doctor first. Don't just go jump in the lake today. Please, please, please consult a doctor so you know you're healthy enough to do it. So
that was a really
PSA done.
That was a really good disclaimer. I want to talk more about What are the actual temperatures we're talking about?
I think I sent you all the picture
Yes.
of
You had icicles on your
eyelashes and
Yes.
snotsicles and everything else coming out of me. So that was negative 25 degrees Fahrenheit.
Air
And
temperature,
air
we're not talking wind
temperature,
chill.
Not
Okay.
talking wind chill. And I mean, there were a couple of days where it hit negative 33 as well. We even lost power in the house we were staying at on one of those days. So that was fun to deal with at like 8 o'clock at night, trying to find someone to fix the electrical in a very, very smallly populated town. So that's the most extreme cold I have felt, and I love it. I'm not going to lie. I find it really exhilarating and refreshing.
As we record this, the Winter Olympics will be happening next month, not in Finland, but in Italy, where there's some variation in their cold climates as well. Can you talk about just how a cold weather athlete, what they have to do to prepare?
Yeah, so it's one of those interesting things that when I saw those questions, I'm like, I'm actually more worried about the spectators than I am the athletes when it comes down to it.
They haven't prepared.
They haven't prepared, and they're also standing still. And that's a big problem when you're a spectator, at least for the outdoor events. When you're standing still, that's when the cold really gets to you. The athletes I don't worry about quite as much, except for the ones where there's bouts of activity followed by bouts of rest. So you can think of like bobsledding runs or skeleton and luge, where they go and do their thing and then they have to sit and wait for their next run. They have to make sure that they are really, really good about maintaining a core body temperature and warmth in the rest periods as well as the active periods. And then in the cold, everyone gets more hungry. That's just part of it. And so making sure they are fueling to their demands and not ignoring it.
I know you work with athletes or do data collection with athletes. Who else are you? And we talked about the reindeer herders. Anyone else of interest or groups or populations?
Yeah, so I mean, I've worked with athletes here at Notre Dame, and I've done some consulting with the NFL as well, and just got back from a trip out to Lake Tahoe, which was at the Mountain Warfare Training Center for the Navy and Marines as they undergo their hypothermia training exercises. Yeah, it was absolutely fascinating. And so this is one of the cool things about anthropology as well, is who would have thought an anthropologist is going to be going to Finland, working with reindeer herders, hanging out with professional football players, and then go consulting with the military. And so I feel like people looking for an awesome major or minor should look to anthropology. I'm shameless, I know, it's fine. Yeah, so that's—
Because of the range. I mean, everything you're talking about is this range of human experiences and things we maybe know very little about that we need to understand.
It's things we know very little about, and the one thing I love about anthropology, and I want to talk about Notre Dame's part in this as well, is that I think what separates us from other kind of fields that do look at humans, like exercise physiology, for example, or even medicine, is we are very much looking at the whole person and then the whole person's context. So who they are in their environment, as well as their own family history and even ancestral history, all of these different things, we look to how that has informed who you are today, culturally, biologically, all of it together. And so that's why I really like the field, because it gives you this big holistic approach to what it means to be human and how we survive in this highly variable world that's always changing. So Notre Dame has opened up a lot of doors for me that I never saw myself, going through those doors, but I'm so glad I have.
And even beyond the connections, why is it important that a global Catholic research university like Notre Dame be part of this conversation that you're having?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things is being, excellent citizens of the world, and part of being an excellent citizen of the world is really understanding what it means to be a human in different parts of this world. That we need to understand all experiences are different, but they are also all meaningful in different ways. And I think the approach that Notre Dame takes to not only being an exceptional research and educational institution, but understanding that we are a small part of something very, very large is incredibly important.
Would you do a lightning round with me?
Lightning round, bring it on.
First question, Cara, what do you think is the most interesting and amazing aspect of the human body and its abilities?
It is its inefficiency. No, this is the thing. It is its inefficiency.
Really?
There are so many weird inefficiencies in our body that end up being really helpful or beneficial in different ways. Like I said, our muscle, we waste so much energy to heat when we exercise. It's not actually helping us to run, but that can help keep us warm in the cold. That's really cool. Or like the vessels, the coronary vessels that feed your heart. Your heart relies on your heart not fully pumping all of the blood through your main vessels, and the stuff that drips back down is what actually feeds your heart. So your heart is fueled by inefficiency. That's really cool.
I don't know what really metaphor therein lies.
So yeah, I think it is the inefficiency and that wide range of it that we see. Like, it's not always a useless thing. And if you think it is, you're not looking hard enough.
Oh, I love that. All right, question 2 of 3, favorite Winter Olympic sport.
So this isn't going to be, there's a 2-1 here. Okay. Like, 1, hockey as an avid fan of the sport. I love watching hockey, so I always enjoy it. And there's really great history with Olympic hockey. Yeah. So huge fan of that. Grew up a Detroit Red Wings fan. But I also will admit that I love watching the skeleton, luge, and bobsled because that's just wild.
It is wild.
Like, why would you choose to barrel down an ice chute head first? Like, it's insane to me, and I respect it so much and love watching it.
Well, I will be watching that as well. Okay, last lightning round question. What's your go-to cold weather accessory, or what did you have to have with you when you were in Finland?
This is going to be so boring. Chapstick.
Oh, that is the most perfect example.
It's just chapstick because it's so dry.
Yeah.
It's like the winter dryness is actually a bigger issue, I feel, than the winter cold in Finland for me. I would have like 3 tubes on me at all times.
Right.
So, yeah. It became a bit of a joke amongst my grad students, postdocs. There's always chapstick everywhere.
Oh, I appreciate that answer. I have one more request because there's one more tool that's in your lab. Can you show me how it works?
I can show you lots of things.
Well, tell me what it is first.
All right, so we've got 2 things here. One is kind of your traditional wooden bow and arrow. This is called the atlatl, and it's a spear thrower, and this is, or a dart thrower, and so this is one of the darts. You can launch it really far. Cool. But yeah, so they use these and they hunt, and maybe 4 or 5 times over the course of maybe 4 or 5 times I've done this has it been hit. Usually it's once per class.
Do students say it's harder than it looks?
Oh yeah.
Or that they would imagine.
And it's always fun when you get like the athletes who throw things and think they're going to be great at it. They are not so great at it. It's humbling. It's really good.
Thank you so much for this conversation. I'm going to look at the cold in a whole different light.
You're still not going to like it.
I won't, but I'll try to.
But you'll have chapstick
keep my chapstick close. Yeah. Thanks so much, Cara.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for Notre Dame Stories, the official podcast of the University of Notre Dame. Find us on stories.nd.edu and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.